So in 1957, a writer visited Knoxville and he called it the ugliest city in America. So we're going to discuss the story behind that and what we did to fix it, and we're going to get started right now. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to All Things Knoxville with me, Ben Barreto, your local real estate pro and relocation expert for East Tennessee. Today we're going to discuss why Knoxville was called the ugliest city in America, as well as what we did to fix those problems, if they were real or not, and have a little fun. But before we get into that, I just want to remind you that this channel is all about life in Knoxville, what Knoxville has to offer, and East Tennessee in general, not just Knoxville, but surrounding counties and the Smoky Mountains and all the glory of living in Dixieland. So if you're into that, make sure to come back. I put out a new video every Monday, so I'd love to see you around, and come back for more. So yes, there was a time Knoxville was called the ugliest city in America. So the story is John Gunther, may he rest in peace, visited Knoxville and just had a bad experience. So he basically trashed Knoxville in his travel journal called Inside the USA. Or Inside USA, not Inside the USA. But anyway, the point being, John Gunther was not impressed with Knoxville, Tennessee. He wrote, "Knoxville is the ugliest city I ever saw in America, with the possible exception being some of the mill towns in New England." But was it really the ugliest city in America? Or were there some other factors that impacted Mr. Gunther's opinion of the area? So there were some things about Knoxville that didn't really agree with John Gunther's idea of a good weekend. One of them being that Knoxville had no film or baseball games on Sundays. Really. At the time, there really was no baseball or movies on Sundays. However, it was like right after John Gunther's visit, probably within the next year, the Tennessee legislation, or the Tennessee government passed legislation. So shortly after his visit, though, the Tennessee government, the state government, passed legislation that allowed movies and films to be shown on Sundays. So if he would have come like a year later, this probably wouldn't be an issue. Additionally, and I don't know if this was true back then, but today the Smokies baseball team, a minor league baseball team, does play on Sundays, but they don't play in Knoxville. They actually, their stadium is in Sevierville or Kodak, whichever side you're on, whoever wants to claim it. But it's outside of Knoxville, about 20-30 minute drive on the interstate. Probably not even that long, 20 minutes I'd say. But yeah, so we do have baseball on Sundays, and the Tennessee Theater downtown shows a film every Sunday. Now another thing that John Gunther had said about Knoxville was that he thought it was a crime-ridden city. John Gunther wrote that it's one of the least orderly cities in the South. Knoxville leads every other town in Tennessee in homicides, automobile thefts, and larceny. Man, he really had it out for us. But the fact of the matter is that FBI stats, they just don't agree with that. And it's, at least today. The fact of the matter is, in Tennessee, Memphis leads the state in homicides. And if you ever watch any of those 48-hour shows or those, real-life cop murder detective shows, you'd know that. You probably know that already. Now, Chattanooga actually leads the state in larceny. And then Nashville is the only other city that deters car theft better than we do. So we're second best out of the four major cities in Tennessee. And I say it all the time that Knoxville is... I grew up in Baltimore. I lived in California. I've been all over this country and the world with my time in the Marine Corps. And Knoxville is probably one of the safest places I have ever been or felt that I've lived in. I get calls all the time by people that question the crime stats in Knoxville. I don't know where those stats come from. I don't see it, but then again, maybe I've just been lucky. I don't know. Another thing that John Gunther wrote was Knoxville was extremely puritanical and doesn't serve any alcohol stronger than 3.6% beer, and that its more dignified tap rooms close at 9:30 p.m. I've already discussed the religious aspect of Knoxville during the 50s, But additionally, this was right after Prohibition. So Knoxville was a dry state before Prohibition since 1907. And they continued to be a dry state after Prohibition. And in fact, Knoxville didn't allow the sale of wine and spirits until 1961. Now obviously that's not how it is today. You can buy beer, you can buy wine, you can buy liquor on Sundays. So now let's address, and now that we've got the larceny, the theft, the crime, the no alcohol, the no baseball stuff out of the way that had nothing to do with Knoxville being attractive, now let's talk about the ugly part. Now Gunther was correct as far as how Knoxville being orderly and attractive. At the time, Knoxville was a small city starting to find its own, and there was not a lot of order to it. There were dirt streets. All the buildings were just kind of plain looking, and it wasn't an attractive city. However, it was surrounded by beauty. So after this article came out, Knoxville really took offense to it. It took it to heart, because us Southern people, we take pride in where we live. We take pride in our communities, and so we take it personally when people dish out, take shots at where we live. We take it personally, and we want to defend it, or at a minimum do something about it. So that's what Knoxville did. And after this article came out, the Dogwood Art Festival Committee was created, and what they wanted to do was bring the beauty of Tennessee in and make it a part of Knoxville, so that they were one and the same. And that is where we got our famous Greenways from. That's where the Dogwood Arts Festival came from. And the Dogwood Arts Festival created many things to help make Knoxville more beautiful. One of those is the Knoxville Greenways. These greenways were developed throughout the city and now throughout the county and the city, connecting hundreds of miles of walkways and greenways, paved walkways and greenways that you can ride your bike on, jog, go for a walk, and they connect, parks, communities, historic sites, nature preserves, and so much more. And when you take these walkways, you can't help but see the beauty of Knoxville. The greenways often follow natural land and waterways, and again, they link nature preserves, parks, cultural features, and historic sites with each other, and they connected with each other, and often they're populated by wildlife and things like that. The greenways also link neighborhoods and to other neighborhoods and different parts of the communities or of the counties to other areas, so that you can take these greenways to get around Knoxville if you really wanted to. So as you can see, Knoxville has come a long way since the 1957 article naming it the ugliest city in America. Hey, make sure to check out last week's video where I talk about 10 tips to sell your house fast with or without a realtor, and you can just click right here to watch that. Other than that, thanks so much for stopping by. I appreciate you hanging out with me today. Sorry if my voice is a little weird, but I got a cold right now. And I actually shot this video twice and accidentally deleted it from the computer after I uploaded it, and then already deleted it off my camera. So this is the second time shooting it. But I appreciate you stopping by, and until next week, bye-bye.